Lotte World Adventure Busan is one of the newest theme parks in South Korea, and this park is off to a great start. It has fantastic theming and some great rides. It just needs more. I'll explain why this park should be on your radar in this review. The Lotte Corporation is one of the largest corporations in South Korea. They have a wide range of businesses including shopping malls, fast food, and for the sake of this review, theme parks. Their signature park is Lotte World Adventure in Seoul. This park opened in 1989, and it is one of the most visited theme parks in the world. It feels like a pseudo Disneyland in a good way. Busan is the second largest city in South Korea after Seoul. It had previously been home to a few smaller theme parks, but there were none as of the mid-2010s. The city wanted to change that. The Osiria Tourism Complex opened around this time. This was a development east of downtown Busan next to the water. This was envisioned as a vacation destination with shopping and entertainment. They decided a theme park would fit in nicely. Multiple operators were considered, including Universal Studios and MGM, but they gravitated towards the Lotte group. Then in 2018, Lotte World Magic Forest was announced. The park took a few years to construct, and it opened in early 2022. The official name is Lotte World Adventure Busan Magic Forest, which is a bit of a mouthful to say, so is often called just Lotte World Busan to distinguish it from the Seoul Park. This park has a grand feel. It starts off with the main entrance. It is a large building resembling a cuckoo clock. Then, if you arrive for park opening, there's a welcome show with live music and the park's mascots dancing. It is a festive way to start the day. It sort of reminds me of the welcome shows Disney used to do at park opening. Once inside, you will find 6 theme zones. All of them are fanciful and colorful. Each one is fleshed out with its own distinct feel. And as you'd expect with such a new park, the areas are all clean and fresh. The only con from an aesthetic perspective, in my opinion, is that the midway severely lacks shade. This is a common issue with a lot of newer parks, as the landscaping hasn't yet had time to grow in. Fortunately, most queues are shaded to some degree, which will let you escape the heat on a hot day. The first area is River Village of Tinker Falls. This is a cute entry area with a series of buildings straight from a fairy tale. Then it's anchored by 2 different things. On the right, you have Ogre's Flume, which as the name suggests, has some ogre statues. Then in the center, you have a talking tree that interacts with guests. This park uses the classic Disney hub and spoke design. River Village is the hub, and the other 5 areas branch outwards from it. Alternatively, the individual lands are also connected to each other, so you can navigate the park in a large loop. Going clockwise, the next area is Underland. This is themed to mining. The land is lined with rockwork with jewels protruding from them. Next is Joyful Meadows, which is catered more towards kids. Quite a bit of the area has a farm vibe to it between the structures and animal attractions. In the back center, you have Royal Garden, which is the most picturesque zone. In the foreground, you have some pretty fountains. Then in the background, you have a large castle that would not look out of place at a Disney park. This is the park's icon. Then you have Wonder Woods, which feels like a Viking area. The land is filled with wooden architecture. Then Giant Splash is accompanied by a large rock statue resembling a kraken. The final land is Rainbow Springs. This is the least impressive section in my opinion. It does at least have a vibrant color palette. Now let's run through the attraction lineup. This is the park's biggest Achilles heel at this time. They have a good start, but the overall quantity of attractions is very limited. There are just over a dozen rides in total. Fortunately, the park is aware of this issue, and they are working to remedy it. I saw multiple rides under construction all throughout the park during my visit. Then they will be receiving a brand new coaster next year in Giant Revolution. This will be the prototype Zamperla Double Heart Coaster. It'll open as the park's tallest and fastest coaster, with a max height of 164 feet or 50 meters, and a max speed of 68 miles per hour or 110 kilometers per hour, and it'll give the park another headlining attraction. The park currently has 3 different roller coasters. Giant Digger is the best of the bunch. This is a mock launch coaster. Specifically, it is a near clone of Blue Fire at Europa Park. The only changes are that the layout is mirrored, and the final inversion was tweaked to eliminate the vicious laterals. This is a super rideable coaster, so I get why it has been cloned so many times. It has a decent LSM launch, 4 inversions with nice hang time, and some lateral and airtime moments peppered in. Giant Splash is another mock launch coaster. This specifically is a power splash. This is another cloned layout that I really enjoy. It is much more thrilling than your standard water coaster. The final 2 launches are punchy. The backwards bunny hill has great floater airtime. The spikes have sweet weightlessness, and the final splash drenches everything but your shoes. This makes it just what the doctor ordered on a hot day. But if you want to come off dry, they do sell ponchos by the ride's entrance. The final coaster is Mysterious Cookie Train. This is an odd junior coaster from Preston and Barbieri. It is smooth, but it features bulky trains. The 2 helixes have a bit of power to them, but the train nearly stalls out entering the second one. This results in some really good lateral hang time, so it ends up being an enjoyable experience for adults and kids alike. This is located by the main cluster of kiddie rides. I believe most of them can accommodate adults, but it may be a tight squeeze. And it is worth noting of the new rides I saw under construction, most appear to be geared towards kids. The quantity of adult flats is the number one thing this park needs to improve upon. Currently, there are just 5, which is a staggeringly low quantity for any theme park. A large flat ride package from someone like Zamperla would go a long way here to filling out the park. They at least have a top tier flat and giant swing. This is a Zamperla Giant Discovery. This ride was closed during my visit, but I did see it test. I've ridden these models elsewhere, and they're usually exhilarating. The max swings offer nice floater airtime, then the downswings contrast that with strong positive Gs and immense speed. While the aforementioned Giant Splash is probably the park's premier water ride, they also have another one in Ogre's Flume. Built by ABC Rides, this attraction moves through the trough super slowly, but it has some set pieces that make Shrek smile. Then it has 2 drops. The second one is quite tall for the genre, and it has a little zip to it. Just know this ride will get you quite wet, and your bags must ride with you, so you may want to get a poncho for this one as well. This park currently has no dark rides, which is a bit disappointing given how strong the ones are at the original Lotte World Park. I'm hoping they add one in the future. They do have one haunted walkthrough though in Cave of Evil Spirits. I heard this had an eerie atmosphere through a mine. Unfortunately, I was not able to experience it due to a credit card issue that I'll talk about later. For live entertainment, this park has several live bands playing throughout the park at different points. Then they also have parades. This park particularly appears to come alive at night with the evening parade and projection mapping effects on the castle. Again, some Disney influences there. And you get a chance to be at this park after dark most days, because this park has really long hours. This park is often open from 10 a.m. until 8 or 9 p.m. most days. I was stunned they were often open for 10 or 11 hours per day, given how their current attraction lineup is relatively light. You can comfortably do everything here plus 3 rides in a half day. During my visit, I was actually considering leaving midday to do some other activities in Busan. I then wanted to return in the evening for the lights. However, this park, like so many in South Korea, does not allow re-entry, so keep that in mind when planning when to visit. Another important touring consideration is the weather. This park, like many in South Korea, typically does not operate their outdoor rides in the rain. That is particularly unfortunate here because almost every ride is outdoors. Fortunately, the parks typically will not close, and rides will reopen once the rain stops, so the key is just to avoid visiting on a day that is a complete washout. You should also double check this park's calendar for ride closures in advance of your visit. They will typically post this 1 month out. It is not uncommon to find one of the major rides closed, which really stings given the already limited attraction lineup. Sometimes, a specific ride will be closed for just one day for a general maintenance inspection. This was the case with Giant Swing for me. I have seen this practice at several parks in Japan and South Korea. Outside of rain scheduled maintenance, rides here seem to be fairly reliable. Crowds have been relatively light at this park ever since opening, particularly when compared to the original Lotte World. I imagine they'll pick up in the future though, as the park continues to grow. Right now, the park has typically been running one train in all their coasters, and that has been fine for their attendance. During my visit, most rides had no wait. I've heard that's pretty typical, and my visit was a summer weekend no less. There were only 2 attractions with any sort of line. Giant Digger developed a 20-minute wait shortly after opening. Since this coaster is located next to the main entrance, many people went here first. By the afternoon, it was a complete walk-on. Ogre's Flume had a 30 to 60 minute wait for most of the day. This was because there were shockingly few boats on the course. So if you arrive at park opening, I strongly recommend heading here immediately. I would be leery saving a major ride for the very end of the night though. Many parks in South Korea, including Lotte World and Seoul, close their queues early so the last cycle finishes before the park closes. I suspect this park would do the same, so plan accordingly if you visit in the evening. If you do visit on a busy day, the park offers a paid Skip the Line pass and Magic Pass. This routes you directly to the load platform for most rides, often allowing you to board the next cycle, so it can be a major time saver if something has a long wait. It costs 15,000 won, or $11 to skip 2 rides, or 27,000 won, or $19 to skip 4 rides. I think this is quite reasonable compared to what most parks charge for Skip the Line passes nowadays, but again, you probably will not need them most days for most rides anyway. 3 other operational notes. First, seating is first come first served for most rides. If the seat you want has already been taken, staff members are happy to let you wait an extra cycle. This is very much appreciated on the coasters, for example, if you want the front row. Second, the loose article policy here is much more lax than the other parks in Asia. Items can actually remain in your pockets if they're secure, i.e. zippered pockets. Alternatively, there are free cubbies available for most rides. As I said earlier, the log flume is one notable exception. Third, as I alluded to earlier, this park hates foreign credit cards. I did not have this issue anywhere else in South Korea, just this park. There are even multiple signs here warning foreigners about this all throughout the park. I could not use any of the automated kiosks here. In general, I was fine at most places that were manned at least, including food stands and the main ticket booth. Other than that, I found the park quite friendly to visit as a foreigner. Most of the signage was translated into English. Staff members knew very limited English in general, but everyone was super friendly and happy to help, even if it meant having a back and forth conversation using a translation app. I had to use that religiously when I ordered food. I had a few snacks at the food stand scattered about the park, and they were tasty. Everything was freshly prepared and reasonably priced for a theme park. If you arrive by car, there's a large parking lot available. I believe it's paid, but I couldn't find the rates online. Alternatively, you can use public transit like I did. I stayed near Busan's KTX train station. I then took the subway to Osiria station. This cost approximately $2. From there, it was a 1-mile walk to the main entrance. Door to door, this took roughly 1 hour and 20 minutes. Alternatively, you can call a taxi. These are plentiful, faster, and much cheaper than what I'm used to back home. Without traffic, the journey took 25 minutes. This cost roughly $20, which I thought was more than fair. Speaking of prices, what does it cost to visit this park? Day tickets cost 47,000 won, or $34. They also have an after 3 p.m. ticket for a reduced rate of 36,000 won, or $26. If you have flexibility when you visit, I would recommend the evening ticket. It saves you some money, and you get to see the park lit up. And as I said earlier, You most likely do not need a full day to do everything here, at least at this time. If you are a foreigner, you may have difficulties purchasing your tickets on the Korean site. This was a trend with a lot of the Korean parks. If so, you can use a third-party site like Klook, or you can purchase your tickets at the park. So, do I recommend Lotte World Busan? Yes, I do. This is the start of an amazing park. It is quality over quantity at this moment. I absolutely love the overall look and feel. The different themed lands are great. Staff members are super friendly, and they currently have some good rides, including a nice headlining coaster and giant digger. I think you'll likely enjoy this park if you visit. You just probably will not find enough to spend a full day here. But again, the park is aware of this issue, and they are adding several new rides in the near future to remedy this. This will help mightily. I cannot wait to see what this park looks like in a decade. The bones are there. They just need to fill this place out with more to do. If you are one of my US viewers, this park reminds me a lot of Lost Island, sharing many of the same pros and cons as that park. Lotte is the better theming, but Lost Island has filled out their park more with more attractions. Those are my thoughts on Lotte World Busan, the relatively new theme park in South Korea. What are your thoughts on this place? Have you been there? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.